green energy revolution feels like it's everywhere, right? We see the solar panels, we hear about the electric cars, but behind it all, there's this hidden engine, a single element that's quietly becoming one of the most strategic assets on the entire planet. So today, let's pull back the curtain on the green transition's secret ingredient, silver.
You've seen the pictures, right? These vast, shimmering solar farms, sleek EVs plugging into the grid. It's a powerful vision of a clean, green future. But have you ever stopped to ask, what are these things actually made of? What's the physical stuff that makes this revolution possible?
Because it's not just steel and glass. It's not even the obvious candidates like lithium. There's one element, one that's so often overlooked, that is absolutely, positively mission critical. Without it, this whole beautiful green vision, well, it just doesn't happen.
So let's dive in and take a look at the hidden engine driving this entire thing forward.
The answer is silver. Yeah, silver. For most of human history, when you thought of silver, you thought of coins or maybe jewelry. But that's all changed. Its role has been completely transformed. Today, silver is a high-tech industrial metal, and it is the engine of our future.
Okay, so get this. Every single solar panel needs about 20 grams of silver. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, right? It's less than an ounce. But here's the thing. You have to multiply that by the millions upon millions of panels being installed all over the world every single year. Suddenly, those little grams add up to a mountain of demand.
And the story gets even more intense when you look at electric vehicles. An EV uses up to 50 grams of silver. That's double what a typical gas-powered car uses. So as we all switch over to electric, the demand for silver from just the auto industry is about to go absolutely parabolic.
So the big question is, why silver? I mean, can't we just use something else? Is it just the best material for the job, or is it actually the only one? Well, the answer really comes down to its unbelievable physical properties.
Here's the kicker. Silver isn't just a good choice. In a lot of these advanced applications, it is the only choice. It is, hands down, the most electrically and thermally conductive metal on the planet. Nothing else comes close. That means for these industries, there is no viable substitute. Demand is totally inelastic. They have to have it, pretty much no matter what it costs.
This quote from Bullion World just nails it. Silver isn't just a shiny, precious metal anymore. It's a strategic asset, right at the center of everything. Clean energy, next-gen electronics, even investment strategy. Its value is now completely intertwined with the technological future we're all trying to build.
Okay, so demand is through the roof. We get it. But what about supply? Can we just mine more? Well, this is where the story takes a critical turn, and where the whole situation starts to look really, really tight. Just look at these numbers. We're talking about a projected 38% explosion in industrial demand in less than a decade. And this isn't just some temporary spike. No, this is a deep structural shift driven by the foundational technologies of our time. Now, let this one sink in, because it is the most important piece of the puzzle. For about 6 years running, we as a planet have been using more silver than we've been able to dig out of the ground. This isn't a one-off. It's a structural deficit. The market is fundamentally out of balance.
What we're seeing is a perfect storm. On one side, you've got demand just rocketing upwards from solar, EVs, 5G, AI, you name it. And on the other side, supply is hitting roadblock after roadblock. It can take a decade to get a new mine up and running, and the mines we already have are dealing with lower quality ore, tougher environmental rules, and rising costs.
And if you want proof of how one industry can completely reshape a market, here it is. Just a decade ago, solar power accounted for about 11% of industrial silver demand. Today, it's nearly 30%. One single green technology is now a dominant force in the entire global market for this critical metal. But this isn't just an economic story about supply and demand. No, this supply crunch is actually redrawing the geopolitical map. It's shifting us away from a world run on oil and into a brand new era of what you might call electro-geopolitics. For 100 years, global power was all about oil, creating what we called petrostates, think Saudi Arabia or Russia. Well, a new world order is taking shape, one built around electrostates. These are the nations that control the critical minerals and processing for green tech. The new battlegrounds aren't shipping lanes like the Strait of Hormuz. They're mineral supply chains and manufacturing hubs. So, how do these new electrostates flex their muscles? Their primary tool is something called resource nationalism. It's a fancy term for a simple idea: using your control over natural resources like silver or nickel as a weapon or a tool to get what you want. whether it's economic, political, or strategic.
And if you want a perfect real-world example of this playbook in action, just look at what Indonesia did. They control a huge chunk of the world's nickel, which is vital for EV batteries. So, in 2020, they just banned the export of raw nickel ore. That forced companies like Tesla and others to build their processing plants inside Indonesia, giving them way more control and a much bigger slice of the profit. That's the new game.
This mad dash, this global scramble for critical minerals, is putting the entire world at a major fork in the road. And depending on the choices we make, we could head down one of two very, very different paths.
The source material we're looking at outlines these two potential futures. The first is called the atrophy scenario, which is basically a zero-sum game of competition and conflict. The other is the ascend scenario, a future built on cooperation and shared goals.
The atrophy path, well, it's pretty bleak. You see the world fracture into these competing mineral blocks. Trade gets weaponized with tariffs and export bans. We might even see proxy wars in resource-rich countries. It's a world of green colonialism, where powerful nations exploit weaker ones for their minerals. And in the end, our climate goals get completely derailed by all the conflict.
But it doesn't have to go that way. In the ascend scenario, we choose collaboration. Nations engage in technological diplomacy, sharing breakthroughs. We get serious about a global circular economy, recycling and reusing these precious minerals, so we don't have to mine as much. In this future, the energy transition actually becomes a force for global prosperity and shared security.
And that really is the ultimate takeaway here. The transition to green energy itself is inevitable. The technology is here, the momentum is unstoppable. But the kind of world we build around that technology, whether it's one of conflict or one of cooperation, that is not inevitable. That is a choice. And it's a choice we are all making right now.